what you're doing and following God's leading to begin this, you're writing a story for your son and for your daughter, for Brooke, right? She's going to have the story she's going to tell the rest of her life that, you know, I had leukemia when I was a kid and I overcame this. And then she's going to be able to tell the story of, you know, then my dad got this idea. And who knows, in 10, 15 years, Matt, you may, bless hundreds of dads to step into this healing joy experience. And what you're teaching your daughter right now, that like coming to the verge of death itself can't actually ever steal your ability to find joy in him. Hey guys, welcome back to the Daron Earlewine Podcast, Part 2. My good friend Matt Derado from the Healing Joy Experience. What up, Matt? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, we went there first episode.
Yeah. That was rough. It was dark.
No, it was good. I appreciate the honesty and the journey. If you haven't listened to Part 1, go back and hear Part 1 of Matt's story. His daughter Brooke, at 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, diagnosed with leukemia, the battle, for her life through that, and what that did to Matt, what it did to their family, and just how it brought him to the place of finding and really being able to answer the question of when's the last time something brought you joy, that you felt joy. And we're going to unpack that, the journey that it took today, and I'm excited about this part of the story we're going to tell Matt. And I just want to thank you guys for downloading the podcast, for those of you that have subscribed to it. If you haven't subscribed or left a review for the podcast, really, really would make a difference and a great impact. We'd love to hear from you, and obviously it helps us reach more people as the podcast grows in popularity. And so I'd love for you to subscribe, whether it's here on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to it as a podcast. We really do appreciate it. So, Matt, let's jump in. A quick little update. It's 2020. World's shutting down. You're going to therapy, trying to figure out what's going on, dealing with watching your daughter go through what she did for 2.5 years, battling leukemia. Your counselor says, when's the last time something really brought you joy?
Correct.
You're going on walks, trying to figure things out. And you're like, I love music. And you start watching DJ videos, and you're like, I think I could do that. I'd like to learn to do that. Which I think is cool, is that when I talk to people about finding purpose in their life, they often, the thing that draws them, or that they maybe do naturally, they think that everybody would do that or think that or want to do that. Like, we discount, I think, some things that are personal that God's doing in our life because we're like, it sounds stupid, or who would do that, or like probably everybody would. So for you, you're 40 years old, you're a financial advisor. Like, I could see in your brain thinking like, no one learns to DJ at 40.
Right.
Like, or financial advisors aren't like crazy EDM like guys.
Yeah, right.
Like, what are my neighbors going to think like when I'm becoming a DJ?
Right.
Did any of these thoughts go through your head?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. Yeah. Still probably do. Yeah.
But you didn't let that, deter you. You jump online, you start watching videos, you take a guy's course from Australia, right?
Yeah.
And start learning to DJ.
That's right. Yeah. It's, I got the package from Amazon, didn't even know how to turn on the decks. And, I went from that and started watching the videos, which, Andrew's my guy. Shout out to Andrew, Club Ready DJ School out of Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
He's my man. Great teacher. If you want to look him up. So, anyway, yeah, he does a great job, like saying, hey, this is, from square one, step by step, this is exactly how you do it. And, learned so much. And I just I'd get done with work and go right to the basement. And I just couldn't wait to, start digesting all the videos. And, I think it's so cool now. You can, pretty much learn whatever you want to learn on YouTube videos, or, buying a course. I've bought several of those courses, and I still buy other DJs courses now to learn new stuff. And I just go down there and just, let my escape. Very just like everybody, once it dragged into the summer, you're like, this is, not going away for a while, and things. And I would just go down there and practice and keep learning. And, the cool thing about DJing is that, once you press play and you learn how to fade in and out of songs, it's like, wow, I can do that, and it's all of a sudden it's like, you're doing it, and it's like sounds coming out. And it's very encouraging very quickly, not maybe like some other instruments where it's like, this is going to sound terrible.
Because the song is already written, right?
Right.
You got the great song.
Yeah.
You're just making it work and putting it all together and, putting some icing on the cake on it and blending things in. Here's what I love about what you just said about that, Matt, that I don't want the listener to miss. Last episode, we had Jordan Lee Dooley on, who's a great author and speaker, entrepreneur. And she talked about when we have these, she got a new book called Embrace Your Almost. And these moments that are like things almost work out right, but they don't. And like I would say these death of a dream moments.
Yeah.
She said they can either be dead ends or they can be defining moments. You know what I mean? And I think about where you were summer of 2020. Like you were pretty close to a dead end moment. It could have been. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in a very good emotional, spiritual place. I mean, yes, things are better with my daughter, but I'm kind of in the spin cycle here.
Yeah, right.
And we've got a global pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which we all didn't do real well with that. Let's be honest. Okay.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it didn't become a dead end. It really did become a defining moment where we're like, well, I've got some time on my hands here, and I'm gonna chase after something that brings me joy, and don't wait for another global pandemic, right? To actually begin saying to yourself, what can I do to take the time that I have to find ways to pursue something that brings me joy? How long in the process, Matt, did you start to realize like, oh, this is really making me happy? Like this is a happy place for me.
Oh, it was pretty much immediate. And it still does. I mean, it's such a good release and stuff. It was immediate. Because even before my stuff came from Amazon, little back order issue. Yeah. You start to watch the videos, and Andrew just be so encouraging of like, you don't even need, you can start learning right now. So it was pretty much immediate, and things. So yeah.
So we'll fast forward. You start DJing, you get your decks, you're putting it together. We sit down again for another cup of coffee or lunch or something.
Yep.
And you tell me, like, dude, I'm DJing.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I was like, keep it on the.
Don't let people know, right? But I will be in the snake pit this year with 3,500.
Yeah, right.
You're going to be Marshmallow Head guy. I like that guy. Anyway, we're talking about it, and I'm noticing a marked difference in your countenance. And I think it was that time or the next time you said, hey, at least this is how I remember it, right? Sometimes I tell your story different than you tell your story, right? But the way I remember it is you were like, hey, dude, like, I got an idea, but I think it's probably stupid, right? You discounted your idea right away.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably dumb.
Yep.
But I was thinking, I love music. I'm really loving this DJing thing. Like, what if, like, we did a party at our house or something, and then, like, we could, like, I don't know, people could, like, give money, and we could, like, give it to charity or something, which I feel like was about the first iteration of the idea. Is this correct?
Yeah. And, I think, another encouragement I give to people, something I do all the time is, just because something, at the time there wasn't really an option to have a big old, party and stuff. But I can look back, I write stuff down, not as diligently as I should. This is a reminder to myself, I can look back and I wrote down, maybe not the way it's turned out now, but I wrote it down like way back when, maybe 2019 or something like that. The idea, it maybe took me another year to share it, but that was okay. Yeah. It makes me remember it and stuff. And I think it took me a while to feel vulnerable enough to share that with you. And of course I had to, discount it and disclaim it and everything. Yeah.
So you keep growing in this. And then I feel like it was probably another, 6 months, 3 months, something, whatever. We sat back down, and then the idea had grown even more to where, and I couldn't believe it when you said this, right? Because you remember you saying, hey, I was thinking maybe we could find a dad. Because I think the way you said it was, you were connecting the dots that, man, I kind of stopped letting myself feel joy when my daughter was going through this. And you said, kids have Make-A-Wish. Women do a pretty good job of caring for their friends. But what about dads that they're just supposed to grit it out, right?
Right.
They're just supposed to be strong for everybody.
Yeah.
I remember you saying, like, I was thinking about maybe we could do something, like people could give gift cards or we could do like money, but like maybe we could find a dad and like, help them find joy again. And dude, I don't know if it hit you, maybe you just thought you were talking, but like I can remember sitting across the table from you and being like, I'm watching like a modern day, like life change miracle of God, because from the same like mouth just a few years earlier, it's like, don't send me anybody. Yeah. I don't want to be around anybody to try to give them hope. They don't want to hear what I have to say. Yeah. To like, now I'm going on walks, going to therapy, DJing, and I'm dreaming about hosting a party where we would raise money and actually send love and hope to a dad.
Yeah.
Hey guys, quick commercial break here. Breaking news, exclusive breaking, first time ever heard in the world news, just for you podcast listeners. You guys know, we've been talking about it for a couple months now, The Death of a Dream, Resurrecting Purpose When Life Doesn't Go as Planned, my first book coming out October 18th. Well, listen, I talked to the publisher and I said, I got to take care of the podcast listeners. Can I have 100 free codes for free ebooks for the podcast listeners? They said yes. I said yes. Now I need you to say yes. All you got to do is email me, Daron@blackbirdmission.com. Let me know you want the book. I'm going to send you a free download copy, a free download code so you can download the book and start reading it months, literally months before anybody else in the world does. Why? Because you're a podcast listener. So email me, Daron@blackbirdmission.com. Let me know you want the book. I'm going to send you a download code and I want you to read it. I want to hear some reviews. I want to know how God's impacting your life through it. And I'm so excited to get the first 100 copies to you guys because you're podcast faithful. Appreciate you guys listening. Email me. I'll send you the book. Let's get back to the interview.
Not to go back to part one too much, but I mean, when something like this happens, and I'm sure other people have had other trauma and other things happen in life, it's all hands on deck, and you release all the resources, and we're very blessed. We live close to the hospital. I have a flexible job. Jenna doesn't work. Our son was older. We didn't have young children. I can't even imagine like if you had like a 2-year-old and trying to deal with this with your other child. My parents lived close. We had all these resources. Not everybody has that. Mm-hmm. And I wish maybe at some point I'll put it on, if I get my website going here, I'll put a picture of the stack of medical bills. But it's hard and it's overwhelming and emotional. And I think dads in particular, you feel this guilt not only with your time but financial resources and things, and because they're probably already exhausted anyway from the process, Yeah. And you don't worry about it at the time, but eventually you got to pick up the pieces. And I think dads have that guilt, and nobody's going to raise their hand, or most dads I know are not going to raise their hand and say, yeah, you know what, I deserve that. It's been 3 years now since I've had that golf trip. I deserve this, and I'm going to take 3 days off of work and go spend money and time away and stuff. Most guys have that, I think, that guilt, or that they're not going to raise their hand and do that.
Yeah.
And so I have had it, and I still do, obviously, like, somebody needs to step up for these guys and say like, no, it's fine, and almost force them to go.
Yeah.
And force them to experience the things that, did bring them joy, like the golf trips or whatever it is that, you do. I've always been really blessed with really good buddies, and, I always look forward to it, and it was fun. And I just remember, that day golfing and feeling like this is terrible, to try to restore that without feeling the guilt of, financially, the time, or, no, I should be doing this, or we still have that medical bill hanging out there and stuff. And not only that, but feel like you don't have to all pile in a minivan and, play Twilight and maybe go an hour away or something. Like, actually upgrade the experience and make it really cool and redeeming and healing, if that's what they're into, and make it whatever, whatever they want to do to try to, and there's always a right time for it. I would not have, if somebody would have told me that, you can go play Pebble Beach
right
2 years ago, I said, I don't really want to, I don't care. And so it needs to be the right time, but it's to help restore that once the process is over, and somebody needs I call it I've stole this from somewhere, a hand up but not a hand out, and things, because I think a lot of guys are like, no, I don't, there's that pride, and I don't need your charity and all of that, which I experienced all those feelings.
Yeah. So you're wearing a hat that says THJE.
Yeah.
I've got one of the shirts on from the event. So the Healing Joy Experience. I remember we're getting this thing planned. You reach out, you're like, dude, I got a name, and you sent it to me, and I was like, I freaking love the name, the Healing Joy Experience. Where did that come from? How did that hit you?
Yeah. Well, you've probably heard me use like all those words several times. Like the joy is, I thought it was a little cheesy, to be honest with you, but I thought, I'm going with it. So the joy came, obviously we're talking about from, when was the last time you experienced joy? Healing is because I think it's a process and it's not an event. For myself, again, I'm right in this is not finish line for me. I have, lots of bad days and lots of, everything's not perfect, so it's a process of healing. And, and I'm not in a place where I'm like, just because some dads go on a golf trip or a hockey game or whatever, it doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect. It's a process and it's part of healing. And the experience, is because I want these guys to not only experience the joy, but have whatever it is with their friends, the experiences that they, used to have.
I love it.
To have that again.
Yeah.
And things. So that's kind of, and I Googled it and it wasn't taken. So that was part of
that
it
works
too.
too.
Yeah.
Well, I remember it, Matt. You told me that, and we had a pup theology event, a ministry that we were run here in Indianapolis in bars, and I was like, listen, we're going to book you for the Christmas event, and give you a couple, because you hadn't had that many reps like out in the public, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. People weren't knocking my door down.
Right,
Amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
out of your basement.
Yeah,
to come
right.
do this.
Yeah.
Well, and what was funny, Matt, is I booked you before I'd ever heard a thing you'd ever done.
Yeah.
I was just so inspired by the story. I'm like, listen, you're DJing the December event. We're doing this thing.
Yeah.
And then like the week or so before the event, you were like, hey, like, just wanted you to see some of the stuff I'm putting together.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at the dinner table with my family, right? And I'm like waiting for where for it to eat. And like I pull up your SoundCloud, and you've got like a 2-hour playlist on there.
Yeah.
And I play it. I wish I had videoed it because it comes on and like you're like bringing songs in and stuff. And you had put some like Christmas songs in there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And dude, I'm freaking out at my dinner table. I'm like, Matt's so good. Like
Well,
he's so good. And then my boys were like, oh, play that again, Dad.
Yeah.
So like we have this like dinner dance party listening to DJ Slumbers, which I love that you actually have a DJ name.
Yeah.
And dude, you came that night to the event, you killed it. And what we did that night was we told the story and we started the process of trying to raise, the first couple $100 or more to get you going, because you'd gone ahead, you planned an event, 4 months later for April 23rd at your house.
Yep.
You brought in a band, you DJ'd it, you promoted it, and you went through the process. And you've got, there's 2 dads now you have?
That's right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And part of it, you can kind of tell I'm weird about the anonymity and the, maybe not weird, but it's just a big thing for me. Like
absolutely.
I don't, and also just that, back to like, I don't want to tell these guys how to feel. I don't want to tell them, let's trade war stories. It's like, no, there's maybe a time and place for that. But like, I want to work through, their family and the people that love them and know them. Yeah. And I just want to be able to facilitate, and be a catalyst for it to happen. Not that, that's their job, and it's not, they know what their friends love, and that's what my friends would do too. So
what are these first 2 guys doing? Can you tell us that?
So the one is going to Yellowstone Park. Again, not my. I'd be happy to go to Yellowstone. Yeah. Not exactly my thing, but that's cool.
His jam.
That's his jam. So
that's his joy.
That's his joy.
That's
his
right. Healing joy experience.
That's right. Exactly. And so he's going to go hiking. Coming up for a long weekend. So that's cool. And then the other guy I'm working with right now, his brother-in-law's is they want to go to the again, I'm not a massive hockey fan. I mean, I like hockey, but they want to go to the Stadium Series hockey game. It's a little different than I think the New Year's Day game, but when they play, a game outside, in a football stadium. So, and kind of have a weekend away with the guys and stuff. They're all close in things, and that's perfect. Let's do that. And again, trying to get them really good seats. And from the event, everybody was so generous. That's what is so humbling about this. Your help, providing the platform for the giving and having the events and encouraging me, because it's humbling the amount of money that we raised to really be able to do it right for these very deserving guys. Because I don't know everything they've been through, and I don't really, not that I don't care or don't want to know. It's just that I know that it's been terrible, whatever they've been through, and so they're very deserving in things. And even talking to their loved ones, I can tell. And it's probably more selfishly for me than them, to be honest with you.
Matt, I freaking love it so much. It's one of my favorite stories I've been a part of in the past, couple years of just watching, what God's doing in your life. And like I said, I love how honest you're being. It's like, you're not saying you're perfect. You're not saying you're completely healed from this. I mean, life is life and you're still walking through figuring this out. But like, you could literally still be in your basement in the depths of depression.
Yeah.
Just sulking in your own pain and sorrow. Like that's an option.
And I've done that.
Sure.
I've been there, done that.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've chased joy, you've taken these difficult moments and allowed them to be really redefining moments, and the fact that now you're bringing joy and an opportunity for healing to other people, and I think there's a principle through Scripture is when our life is lived to be selfless, when we take on the attitude of Christ, where my focus isn't just on myself, like I'm here to love and to serve others. It's amazing how that actually begins to catapult and even be a catalyst to our own healing.
Absolutely.
And our own understanding and grace. And so, dude, I'm so fired up. I can't wait to hear the feedback you get from these dudes and the experiences that you used to get to send them on. Now you get to figure out, like, I'm going to start a nonprofit, all the things.
Right.
What am I going to figure out? When's the next party? What are we going to do? But I'm so glad that you came to share the story today, man. I just love it, man.
Well, the thanks goes to people like you, Daron, who you could have shot it down pretty quick, and I would have taken that to heart. And I have a lot of people that, my wife, my therapist, my family, everybody that encourages me and didn't shoot it down or weren't negative. There's enough of that going around and stuff. So to have people that support it. And then, of course, everybody that supported it, this first event, everything. It's couldn't do it with other people's help and stuff. Like I say, you kind of need all the resources. So I really appreciate it.
What just popped into my head, Matt, and I hope this gives you more inspiration. I hadn't thought about this yet. Is as families, our stories shape and define our lives, right? The story that gets told, and I don't know if you've thought much about this yet, but what you're doing and following God's leading to begin this, you're writing a story for your son and for your daughter, for Brooke, right? She's going to have the story she's going to tell the rest of her life that, I had leukemia when I was a kid and I overcame this. And then she's going to be able to tell the story of, then my dad got this idea. And who knows, in 10, 15 years, Matt, you may, bless hundreds of dads to step into this healing joy experience. And what you're teaching your daughter right now, that like coming to the verge of death itself can't actually ever steal your ability to find joy and healing again.
Yeah. I hope so. I really, I'll tell you a cool story. My daughter and her friend, they had a hot chocolate stand this winter, and they were the first donation for to give all the money that they made. They gave, like, say, can we donate this? So yeah. So I know, tearjerker.
I know. We got this whole story.
Yeah,
right. You got me with the hot chocolate.
Yeah,
story.
right. With the hot chocolate stand. So, but that's a true story, and my daughter's amazing. She's. I love her to death. So it's. I'm just feel so happy that, that she's well and things. Yeah.
I love it. Matt Derado. Matt, if they want to be maybe a part, they want to donate. They want to. I told your story up in Michigan at a church, and two guys came forward. One guy that does like king salmon fishing trips. He's like, dude, if he ever needs to take guys on salmon fishing, let me know. How can they get some more information? I know you're trying to get websites stuff going. What's in the mix right now?
I mean, I don't mind if people email me. I think it was tough. To find nominees, to be honest. So and it doesn't have to fit in the box of like having a young child with cancer. Anybody I've had unfortunately, lots of other trauma in my life too. So if there's a guy that, really needs that, hand up, and has been through an ordeal and he needs a catalyst and a facilitating, because not everybody, I have a lot of friends that say, I'll go if somebody plans it, but I'm not, I'm not the planner kind of type, and things and things. So if somebody wants to email my Gmail, it's just mderado@gmail.com. at Gmail. And, I'll keep your information, nominee, whatever, ideas, if whatever, because we're working on a website and things. I kind of want to see how it went, if I completely bombed. So, and things, or if this is a thing, and I think it's got some momentum. So yeah, people can email me if they're interested in whatever angle of this.
What if they want to book DJ Slumbers to come DJ at their party?
I don't have a website for that either. So, I mean, same email works. It's kind of a catch-all for.
I love it.
Yeah. You can, if you want to, or go to my SoundCloud, I guess.
Yeah, that's good.
And things.
Just Slumbers? How do you spell it?
Yeah. So no vowels. I was trying to be younger and cool.
I get it.
SLMBRS, which comes from the Beatles song "Golden Slumbers." So
Nice.
my favorite Beatles song.
Yes.
If people are like, "What the?"
Yeah.
What the heck is that? I feel like I have to give the explanation. So yeah, you can go listen to one of the mixes. Try to update them.
Do it.
That's my favorite thing to do. Go record and then
Yeah.
throw it on SoundCloud. So
go check out his SoundCloud if you want to book him for a party or something like that. That'd be awesome. Book him for your party, raise money at it,
Yeah.
donate it back so he can invite one of these dads into this healing joy experience. Matt, love you, dude. It's been a joy
Yeah,
to
thanks, man.
know you for 20 years. Can't wait to see what the next 20 holds. And never forget, God's for you, not against you. He's near you, not far from you. And He's created you on purpose and for a purpose. Talk to you guys next time right here on the Daron Earlewine Podcast.